Okay, so you're here, you're listening, you want to get smart fast, right?
Absolutely.
You want the key insights without having to wade through all the fluff.
Yeah, that's what we all want, right?
And that is what we do here on the deep dive. You sent us this week in review, we'll call it TWIR, from 2025, week 12 by Ang, published just recently.
Very recently.
Now, you might be thinking a personal weekly review. What can I possibly learn from that?
Well, that's the beauty of it. Sometimes, the most profound lessons, they're hidden in plain sight. They're in the everyday. This isn't some abstract theory or, self-help guru. It's a look at how one person is actually navigating their goals and interests in a real week. And it's precisely this granular view that can give you some really surprising and like immediately useful ideas.
Exactly. And our mission today is not just to tell you what Aang did, but to extract those nuggets, those interesting patterns, maybe those aha moments that you can take and apply to your own pursuit of knowledge and self-improvement.
Yeah.
We're going to connect seemingly different activities and uncover the hidden wisdom in the routine. Okay, so let's dive right in, and let's start with health.
Right. So health is front and center, always a good place to start. Aang set a goal of 7 hours of sleep each night.
Mm.
And I think what jumps out immediately is the variation. So while the average might hit that target, the bedtimes they range from like 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then the sleep duration itself also swung between 2 hours and 8 hours, including an afternoon nap.
Mm.
I think this highlights a really crucial point when we're tracking our sleep or any other metric for that matter. Don't just look at the average, look at the inconsistencies. They tell a much more revealing story about our underlying habits.
Absolutely. So you're saying that even if someone says, oh, I get 7 hours of sleep a night on average, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're getting good sleep.
Right, exactly.
Mm.
I mean, if your sleep is all over the place, it's signaling potential disruptions to your body's natural sleep-wake cycle, what's known as your circadian rhythm. And that internal clock is so important for feeling truly rested and functioning optimally.
Makes sense. And what about steps?
Okay, so for steps, Aang aimed for 5,500 steps daily, and they averaged over 6,000. However, a closer look shows a whopping 12,000 steps on Saturday, largely due to house painting and plastering. It's a great reminder that exercise doesn't always have to mean, hitting the gym or going for a run. Like, think about your own week. Are there opportunities for incorporating more physical activity into your daily tasks? Could you walk or cycle for short errands? Maybe finally tackle that DIY project you've been putting off?
I like that.
Yeah, and it also shows how one-off activities can really skew your averages right. So looking at trends over time is generally more insightful than just focusing on a daily number.
So it's not just about hearing a step count, it's also about the type of activity, the content.
Exactly. Like in this case, the house painting and plastering it served practical purpose right.
Right.
So it makes you think about how you can integrate movement into your day in meaningful ways.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to intermittent fasting. Aang mostly followed a 168 schedule with a couple of understandable deviations.
Yeah, and what's really cool here is Aang's self-awareness. So they noted a slight weight decrease for the week, despite, these occasional shifts in the fasting window, and attributed minor day-to-day weight changes to things like hydration and food intake. It suggests they have a good understanding of, their own body and have a consistent overall eating pattern.
So it's not about being perfect, it's about understanding that there are going to be these little variations.
Exactly. Progress isn't always linear.
Right. And then there's the diet. The goal was a 2-to-1-to-1 ratio of plants to protein to carbs. It sounds like Aang wasn't like meticulously counting every single gram, but rather focusing on that general balance and prioritizing plants and protein in home-cooked meals while also allowing for the occasional takeout.
Yeah, it's a very practical approach, right? You don't always need to be obsessively precise to, maintain a healthy eating pattern.
Right.
It's about, having that framework and being mindful of your overall intake. And I love the mention of those short post-dinner walks,
Yeah.
like as a deliberate health choice.
Yeah.
It's such a simple habit, but can have really significant benefits for digestion and overall well-being.
Yeah.
Something to think about, have you considered incorporating something similar into your routine?
Absolutely. So you talked about physical health. What about the mental side?
Right, so let's look at mindfulness and mental exercise.
Yeah.
Aang reports a progression in their sitting meditation practice and also incorporated short breathwork sessions, sometimes just 10, 15 breaths, throughout the day.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, it really illustrates the idea of, weaving mindfulness into the fabric of your day, finding those little pockets of time for mental stillness, and quiet.
So you don't have to block out a whole hour. You can just take little moments.
Exactly. And then there's walking meditation, which Ang noted was less mindful this week, mainly happening while plastering. I think that's a really honest observation. You
It
know,
is. It's very relatable.
it is. It highlights how, trying to multitask can sometimes dilute the focus and the effectiveness of our mindfulness practices.
Right. Sometimes it's better to just focus on one thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then even the simple act of mentally noting, feeling
Mhm.
rather stoic despite the hot and humid weather,
Yeah.
it shows a level of self-awareness and emotional regulation.
Mm.
And I think these little mental check-ins, they can build significant resilience over time. It
Mhm.
prompts the question, how often do you pause to just observe your own emotional state?
That's a good question. Okay, so let's move on to practical skills and hobbies. This
Sure.
is where we see, I think, the breadth of Eng's interest. Cooking is a clear focus,
Mm,
particularly, efficient vegetable preparation, often in soups with eggs. This obviously ties back to the health goals.
it does.
The desire for quick and nutritious meals.
Yeah. And what's insightful here is the intentionality behind developing these skills.
Right.
Taking a proactive role in what you consume, and even like, regularly making hard-boiled eggs, it demonstrates a commitment to having those healthy options readily available. It's about building that practical competence in everyday tasks.
Then we have decluttering with this clear one-item rule while moving around the house.
Love it.
It's such a small, seemingly insignificant action, but it contributes to this larger goal of a more minimalist lifestyle. It's a reminder that big changes often come from these small, consistent steps.
Absolutely.
Think about one small area in your own life where you'd like to declutter. Could you adopt a similar one-item rule?
Yeah, and I think what makes it so relatable is that Aang actually mentions these specific pending items, replacement curtains
Mhm.
and neglected drawer paperwork.
Yeah.
It reminds us that this journey towards, a less cluttered life, it's ongoing. It has its own set of, mini projects.
Right.
It never really ends.
It's a process, not a destination.
Okay.
Reading-wise, it seems like the focus on the more technical book, the one on high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and high blood lipids, took a back seat. Aang mostly browsed fiction and some gardening books this week.
Yeah, it seems to suggest a healthy balance between focused learning and reading for pleasure and inspiration.
Yeah.
Like nourishing your mind in different ways.
Okay. Now, coding is a big part of Aang's week with these daily PR contributions to various open source projects. So PR stands for pull request.
Yeah, pull request. And this is not just passively using technology. This is actively contributing to it and learning by doing.
And then there's this whole refactoring of a personal Python project using Aider with this realistic assessment of the LLM's limitations. It's interesting.
It is.
So for those of us who are not coders, what's significant about using a tool like Aider for this? And what does Aang's experience tell us about relying on AI?
Yeah, so it illustrates this really important point. AI can be a really powerful assistant, but it's not a magic bullet. It still requires human oversight,
Yeah.
critical thinking, and the ability to recognize when its suggestions might not be optimal.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Aang's experience really underscores the importance of maintaining your own expertise, even when you're leveraging these AI tools.
And then there's writing 2 daily posts on gardening and fish keeping.
Yeah.
It demonstrates a commitment to documenting progress and sharing knowledge in areas of personal interest. The coding blog is on hold for now.
Yeah,
Maybe a reflection of, we all have to prioritize our time and energy.
absolutely. And fish keeping and gardening are clearly ongoing passions. While the Yellow-Blue Rack project is on pause for now, the regular maintenance of the outdoor ponds continues, and the gardening section is quite active. Transplanting seedlings, learning about low-maintenance plants, through that process, setting up new gardening spaces. It paints a picture of continuous learning through hands-on experience and a real connection with the natural world.
Yeah.
How about you? What parallels can you draw to your own hobbies and how you learn through them?
I'm not sure I have a great answer for that right now, but
No worries. It's something to think about.
yeah, it makes you think about those ongoing, perhaps less glamorous maintenance tasks in any area of life, right?
Absolutely.
And finally, photography, still on the lookout for the best macro lens for mobile phone.
It's a small detail, but it
Mm.
shows this, continuous pursuit of creative expression, even in the midst of a busy week,
Right.
filled with all these other activities.
So to bring it all together, Aang's Week really exemplifies this very deliberate and diverse approach to self-improvement. It's not about, being perfect in one specific area, but about this consistent engagement across various facets of life,
Mm.
health, mindfulness, practical skills, and hobbies.
Absolutely. And we see the power of those small, consistent actions. right? Like the one-item decluttering rule or those short post-dinner walks. We also see how all these different activities can be interconnected, like the physical work contributing to their step counts. And there's this very, realistic acknowledgement of both the progress and those inevitable bumps in the road, like the inconsistent sleep or the limitations of technology.
Right. So for you listening, what resonates most with you from Aang's week? What aspects of their approach could you see yourself applying to your own goals and routines? And here's a final thought for you to really consider. Aang consistently tracked even seemingly minor habits and noted when things deviated from the plan. How might consistently tracking your own daily routines and, more importantly, reflecting on those deviations provide you with valuable insights into your own progress and also highlight areas where you might need to adjust? What seemingly small fluctuations in your day-to-day might actually be revealing deeper patterns about your habits and your pursuit of your goals. It really makes you consider what a dedicated deep dive into your own routines and the information you consume might uncover.
We encourage you to explore those patterns and maybe even share your own aha moments with us.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Until next time.
See them?